Hello, everyone, and welcome to the weekly show. I'm Skari, your grateful host, and this is a show I normally do for Patreons. Over on the Patreon page, make sure you join the Patreon community. It's the best way to support the channel. Like the video, share it with your friends. It really means a lot and helps the channel grow and allows me to make more content, as this is my full-time job. Now, this show I tend to do for patrons behind the scenes, where we have a question and answer period. I talk a little bit about things that mattered in the Warhammer sort of like game in general, and then we go to one of our favorite segments, the List Crunch segment, which is sort of like a list clinic for Warhammer 40,000, where patrons get to submit an army list every time I do a show, every week, and I get to read it and give you my thoughts. And like that, it helps you develop a list concept and whatnot as well. And you kind of tap into my 30 plus years of playing Warhammer 40,000 with no breaks as you build your own list. Now, of course, today I'm opening the doors to the vault, to the dark city of Kamara, or whatever. The Denizen Vault is open for all of you. Why? Because I want you to be jealous of how awesome the Patreon community is. And if you'd like to support the channel, that would be awesome. This is the kind of stuff you miss out on, and it is a great Discord community, Denizen community of like-minded, positive people from all over the world. So let's dive in, shall we? Hello and welcome. Really appreciate all of you hanging out. Of course, lets you know, I called the thing the Poopoo Slate, which is very much for clickbait. But welcome. If you read it and were like, I agree, leave a like or leave a comment in the chat, and we will get to that in a second. But yeah, let's just say that there has been a little bit of a ruckus when it comes to the data slate. Probably the last data slate we will see before the end of the edition. And it's going to be interesting to see what Games Workshop does, right? With the end of the edition / a potential new edition. You know, it is kind of what it is. You know, we'll kind of see how that works. But hello, everybody that's in chat. Brimstone, Kisme, Richard, Gentle Gin, Cheese Ball. Hello, Too Much Coffee, Bree, Zuckerdrugs, Joel, Pyre Panda. Nice to see you all. Thanks for coming to hang out. You know, I will be catching all of you as well. So, seems like everybody's having a good time. Hang out. We're going to be here for a little bit. I did start the show about half an hour earlier than I normally do because we have a lot of things to go through. So by the end of the video, we will have talked a lot. It'll be about 2 hours. We're going to be hanging out for a while. So get a cup of coffee. I already took my ADHD medication so that I'm trying not to ramble too crazily. I also have a bottle of water. If I get bored, or not bored, but like if I need to do stuff, I got painting to do as well, so I can kind of do that while we're chatting. And my chair is relatively comfortable, and I've already used the washroom as well. So, very, very exciting stuff. Sup, Para Primarchs, what's going on? Michigan, good morning, good morning, good morning, greetings from Nova Scotia. Thanks for coming to hang out. Really means a lot. Thank you. Nerf the detachment, but not the Catan. I think another way I could have, like, written this would have been Catan deserve worse. Come on, Pantheon was funny, but it was a meme list to start with. You know, they're just like, fine, we'll make the meme list even memeier. And they're like, you know what we'll not do is actually fix the problem. Come on, Games Workshop. What are you doing? Okay. You know what? I can't, like, we can complain. We can complain a lot. We spend a lot of time, money, and effort on this game. However, we spend too much time, money, and effort on this game to complain, right? Like, it's like a catch-22. You know, there's no point in being negative about it. It is what it is, right? Like, we can complain, we can chat, but at the end of the day, we just have what it is, and we can't change it right now, other than not playing, right? Like, so if you just don't complain, don't play. That's it, you know? I'm going to keep on playing because it's my job, and I like it, and I'm a glutton for punishment, and I will find a solution to the problem by practicing. That is how I am the number 6 player in the world. Until next year. That's right. There's a little trophy on my shelf that says that I'm the number 6. Okay. Been enjoying my friend's meltdown over the data slate. The pain is delicious. There's too much coffee. Yeah, it's definitely like folks will overreact. There'll be tons of YouTube videos and content made, and it's the ebb and flow, the cyclical nature, the circular nature of the universe, of like the snake eating its own tail, right? It's one of the reasons why, as a player of Warhammer, I always recommend that you just collect whatever you want and paint whatever you want, because you'll have it in your collection, and then eventually, right, the thing that you had painted that was terrible tends to have its time in the sun, because the developers go, you know what we should do? We should make the Hammerfall bunker important. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I have one of those painted. Let alone 3 of them painted. Oh my goodness gracious. I am such a meta chaser. To be fair, I'm certainly Awakened Dynasty Catan was stronger. Yes, Gentle Jin. Awakened Dynasty Catan, or Catan and Star Shadow, it's so much stronger than in Pantheon. Like, Pantheon was just a meme. Hoping the Lost Data Slate would make some really wacky list builds for the last couple of months. They've also... Richard, I agree. How's the Hammerfall bunker coming along? Michael, painted it. I just need to kind of do some highlights. But I painted it. I was going to use it against Ben, because him and I are filming a little crusade called The Rise of Champions, or the Crucible of Champions, or whatever. And we were just about to film episode 2, and I had my Hammerfall bunker, and I was like, check this out, Ben. And we were getting all ready, and he's like, oh my gosh, I painted it, by the way, in less than a day. Like, I primed it, painted it, got it all ready so that I could play it the next day. Because I was like, I got inspired with my crazy ADHD, and I hyper-focused until it was done. I just need to do some extra highlights, but it's like tabletop ready. I even put washes on it and everything. And the power went out at Mini Wargaming. Like, there was a hydro pole that literally snapped, and all the power was out for like from 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock, like for 2 hours. So I was like, well, no filming tonight. So we ended up going for food instead, which was sad, because I really wanted to play my Hammerfall bunker. But believe me, next thing I'm painting, my Fire Strike turret and 2 drop pods. I actually got... So Cruxer, one of the patron incubi, like him and I play a game once a month as a coaching game. And I decided to just run my stupid Hammerfall drop pod Hammerfall deep striking army that I've been planning to take to an event to try and win it with the Hammerfall bunker, and it was very fun. I'm not going to lie. Drop podding 10 Hellblasters with Lieutenant in someone's face is hilariously entertaining. Yeah. Yo, Skari. Excited to play you watch Corsairs later. Yeah, Tom, absolutely. I didn't play the Corsairs. I played against them. It's always really fun to see. I can't wait. I have to paint my Corsairs to use them. Top 10, let's go. That's right. Could have not just released a bounce slate. Winning bad armies. Yes, we just win with bad armies. Bought 15 Hellions. Feels really good now. Yup. 3 Hammerfall bunkers. That would be a sight. Right, Mishkan? Skari's next mountain to climb. Imperial Agents. Absolutely. Try not to think about it. Get busy with life's purpose. Toss aside empty hopes. Get active in your own rescue. The community will save ourselves and sort up the menace. Yeah. Look forward to seeing the Hammerfall bunker. I took a picture of it and put it on the Instagram. What do you think about Corsairs allied with Drukhari? Well, I wrote a whole article about that went to the Goonhammer paywall. And all patrons get access to all the stuff that I do for anybody's paywall. So, just saying, if you really want to know, the patron is right there. Link, right there. See, clickety click. Actually, like and this, I'll do this as a blanket statement for all of you. Whenever I talk about something, I like to give you, the viewer, the player, real life experience talk. So if I say I like this, or whatever, a lot of the times it comes from me physically experiencing what I'm talking about. Theory will only get you so far. So I will say right now that anything that has to do with Corsairs is theory for me because I haven't built and painted my Corsairs fast enough to really use them lately, and I haven't really put them on TTS because I don't want to fall in love with them and then not have the models painted to then use in the real tabletop game. So take everything with a grain of salt when I say what I'm going to say right now. I like the idea of Corsairs. I really like the idea of the Sky Reavers, the jump pack Corsairs, because they give me beast pack vibes. So take that as you will. In theory, they are the new beast pack for my Dark Eldar lists. So that's where I'm going with that. I hope that answers your question. Andrew was really hoping Wraith Guard would get their data sheets fixed. They have 3 ways to get +1 hit, but no way to buff their weapon skill. Yeah, it is what it is. Skari, I hope you're doing well. How do you think players should handle last months after such a disappointing slate? Red Rum? Well, Red Rum, you play games, and that's it. Have fun with your friends. Create memories with your friends rather than stressing about it. This is my, 3rd to 4th, 4th to 5th, 5th to 6th, 6th to 7th, 7th to 8th, 8th to 9th, 9th to 10th, 10th to 11th. This will be my 8th edition change, and I've gone through all 8 of these. We will survive. Don't stress about it. There's no point in stressing. Okay, did I not fix these? Oh my goodness gracious. Just shows you how professional I am. My apologies, everybody. So, these are the questions. As you can see, patrons and YouTube members get to ask questions for every show. So if you want to ask one of these questions or have your questions answered on the weekly shows, there is a thread on the Discord that is accessible to patron subscribers, and they can ask a question every week or whenever I do the show. And members can also go to when I post the thing on the members thing, and you can post it in the comments there or whatever, and I can answer the question there. Essentially, I get to go through the patron Q&A, and it's one of my favorite parts of the show. You can ask pretty much anything, you know. Yeah, we talk about it, we discuss it, and then we go to the list crunch segment of the show, which is probably the more, the very popular segment of the show, which is a list build clinic. Essentially, you submit an army list, I give you my thoughts as you're developing a list concept, which I think is one of my favorite things to do. Playing a lot of narrative for fun and for competitive games is focusing on learning rules and strategies. I think one of the most important things you can do when you're playing towards the end of an edition is focus on, simplifying the game process. Just focus on playing good Warhammer. Don't overthink list builds. Don't overthink, meta and balance. They've just released 500 worlds with a bunch of detachments, Maelstrom, bunch of detachments, new units, new rules, new point values or whatever, or new rules like the Twin Lance, which don't even get me started, is very, very, very cheap for what it does. They're gonna do this whole Eye of Terror thing as well, which is gonna add more stuff. And all of a sudden, all of these things will add up, so it can get very bloated. So focus on making sure you deploy well, making sure you move well, making sure you try and score your cards well. I think those key concepts, just playing good Warhammer, will then give you the skill set you want. And the thing I love about edition changes is that at no other point in an edition is the most experienced player and the most rookie player closer, because you're both learning the new edition. Yes, the experienced player might have systems and stuff that'll help them apply things faster, notice things, right, that sort of thing. But at the start of an edition, newer players and experienced players have the same amount of information. And it is like the closest you will ever be to like people who've been playing for a long time. So if you dive in with 2 feet early in an edition and just go for it, you will rise to that level that you want to go to a lot faster. And I've seen it happen edition after edition after edition. Fundamentals, baby. That is exactly right. Yeah, fundamentals. Para says, Skari, would you consider traveling to Thailand for one of the big GTs in the future? Absolutely. I actually had the opportunity to go to the team event in Thailand, but I was unable to go because I had a previous engagement and I had like another trip I was going to and I just couldn't commit to it. I have my first 40k game of 40k in over 20 years lined up for next week. Need to paint 7 more witches by Wednesday for first 500 points. James, that's awesome. I love it. 500 points, great little skirmish size game to play. Have fun with it. You know, big thing is hide. Hide a lot. The game is a lot more deadly than it was. Hide. That's not true of people who are rules testers, unfortunately. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Carnex hat. You know, it is what it is. You know, but at a general level, right? Like for the population density of the game, what I said is true, right? You know, yes, there's outliers, but it's like saying, you know, at the start of a race, you are all have the same opportunity to go, except for the guy that trained for like, you know, 2 months before the race and you didn't train at all, you know? Okay. Let's go to the Q&A. So Carl asks, in your tests in Cartel, so Cartel being one of the Drukhari detachments, so far, what is the best unit from Malice's, Archons, and Draz to go with? What do you see their roles in Cartel? So, the adding units to different things is always something that I find very interesting to kind of follow along and try and change around. But for Cartel, I have 3 Archons, no Draz, right? I have been trying to play with Draz. I've built a Sky Splinter Assault list, which I am going to be testing. And the Sky Splinter Assault list does have Drazar join a unit of Incubi. However, I feel like Malice works best with a Hand of the Archon. And I split the Hand of the Archon in a Venom, and I give that Hand of the Archon Infiltrate. So you can infiltrate and then scout with Malice and the unit, which is very, very useful for like to go get your first contract, which I found is very important when playing Cartel. 2 Archons go with 2 units of Cabalite Warriors with just the guns and the Venoms for bouncy in and out and free grenades and all that stuff. And then I have 1 Archon or Draz with Incubi. The Archon with Incubi is a webway ult, so rapid ingress for free, and then deep strike as well. And then that's my Warlord, so that they can stay off the table and you know, use the enemies without number stratagem to recontract every single turn that I need them to. So that's their roles. Archons enhance the Cabalite Warriors' capabilities. One of them, or Draz, can enhance some Incubi. Malice is what I use for an aggressive early play. However, I try and keep her alive if I can. Go watch the Play on Tabletop battle report to see how I like doing that, which is getting aggressive with her and then using the Scouting Venom to sort of pick her up in a position where then she could potentially get behind a wall after the Venom is destroyed to keep her alive for like turn 2, turn 3, right? So that's kind of like what I like to do if it lines up. If not, she goes in and tries to kill a key target for a contract to get me an influx of pain tokens. And those are the best roles, Carl, for those units, I find. But I hope that answers your question. Moving on. Crazy Disc says, hey, Skari. Hello, Crazy Disc. I'm wanting your opinion on something that doesn't get spoken about often. Okay. Background. I attend a team's tournament on the weekend and an incident occurred. Someone forgot their rules. The opponent could potentially see the issue and said nothing, and the team captain acknowledged the error, interfering. Many things went wrong and the TO did their best to amend it. Questions are, what are some of the unspoken rules in teams and what is a captain's role? Okay. So that's an interesting way of doing it. So that malice play in that game was insane and great. Yes, Jen, that's usually how I use malice, very aggressively. So great. This is a great question. So interfering. So as you know, so what happened is you have a player playing, they forget a rule, and then the captain, or I'm assuming coach or whatever, walking around notices it and goes, "Hey, don't forget your rule." And then the other person's like, "Ah, you're interfering with the game," right? If I understand that correctly. So I'll tell you what happens at the World Championship. So at the World Championship, this is a true story of me playing Necrons. Okay, this was when I won Best Necrons in the world. Okay, that's right, Best Necrons right here. I have a trophy. I like playing Catan. You can blame me for them only going up 10 points. We're playing against, I think it's Ireland. And I'm playing against Deathwatch. And we're playing, and like first turn happens. And I teleport my Transcendent Catan. Teleport him up. Shoot a unit of scouts to death. And then boss a 9-inch charge. And then he starts his first turn, and he's in the middle of his first turn, and the judges come over and say, "Hey, hold on 1 second," and they point at the Catan and go, "Did this Catan teleport?" And I go, "Oh shit, he teleported, which is an advance, which means he cannot advance and charge." And I was like, literally was like, had completely blanked on that. So what happened was my coach noticed the mistake. My coach, not their coach, my coach. And at the WTC, there is a policy where you cannot there is active judging. Active judging meaning like if you notice something is being forgotten or whatever, there is a responsibility for both players to remind each other of things and rules, right? Because there is a responsibility for both players to be playing above board. You don't want to gotcha people on stuff, right? If somebody notices a rule being played wrong or something being forgotten that might be important, there you tell your captain or whatever, but then the captain tells the judge, and the judge was the one at that point. I don't know how it's changed right now, but the judge was the one that interjected. And they were like, "Okay, Skari, you're getting a warning, right? And, something like this happens again, it's a card." I was like, "Okay, I totally understand." They're like, "Okay, since it hasn't gone too far, we just rewinded everything to, the shooting phase. So we just reset the board state and then continued the game." That's how it's kind of done at, the World Championship, if that makes sense. Where you're not, other players are not allowed to sort of talk to, but you can sort of make us say, "Hey, he's forgotten his rule," and that's impactful in the game because that's a rule that has to happen or things like that, etc. Good morning, Zinth. What's going on? So at the end of the day, the TO did their best. It's important to have those policies sort of laid out before the event starts, right? And have a clear understanding of what everybody is allowed to and not allowed to do, essentially. No, hey, what's going on? Makes sense? Makes sense. Cool. So my questions are, so the unspoken rules, there's not really too many unspoken rules in teams. It's more like whatever is rules, it's written in the World Championship style. So that's kind of that's what I would say is there's policies that should be in place for a team event. And when in doubt, look at the policies that the WTC has put in place because they're quite strict. You don't have to use those, but they're quite strict when it comes to coaches and captains and how communication has to happen at the table. And they're relatively very clear on infractions and how all that stuff works. It's all above board and very important. And anybody from the WTC crew can probably, if I'm saying anything wrong, you can kind of tell me, right? Okay, moving on. But it is always unfortunate when something like that happens, especially when, it's potentially not in bad faith, but somebody decides to make a big stink about it, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, number one, we're all human. Number two, it's a freaking game, okay? So everybody can just simmer the fudge down, okay? Just chill out. It's a toy soldier game. Okay? Your whole like identity doesn't have to wait a second. That's me. I'm talking about me. No. Yeah, see you later, Joel. Thanks for coming to hang out. Okay, Brimstone asks, hello, Mr. Skari. Hello, Mr. Brimstone. Hope you're having a wonderful week so far. I am. It has been very busy, but very, very productive. Yeah. I just started my new job this week. That's awesome. I know, you told me. Congratulations, that's great. My priorities are shifting a bit with a new job and family wants and needs, so I may only get 1 to 2 games a week, and sometimes I want to play other armies for Crusade, or Crusade. Yes, it's okay to play other armies or Crusade. If I still want to improve competitively with Custodes, how do you approach practice with limited reps? How do you balance competitive improvement with just enjoying the hobby? So I think one of the important things about having limited practice, so how do you approach the practice with limited reps, is make sure you have a practice schedule. Essentially, like as we talked about making a grid, like what armies have I and have I not played against. So if you have limited number of games, try and make sure you get a game against a different faction every time you play to just get a feel for it. And if you have to play against the same faction, make sure it's not the same mission or the same layout or the same, like change the layout, change the mission, change the format, change the deployment, change who went first or second, and get different data from the same matchup. And that's all you can do. Of course, don't change your list too much, right? If you have limited reps, you have to make sure you stay true to your list. And how do you balance competitive improvement with just enjoying the hobby? That is a personal choice. So I like playing things like Battlefleet Gothic or Necromunda or other games that are not 40k competitive, or I play a Crusade every once in a while, right? Right now I've got a Crusade going with my brother, which we'll probably finish in a year. And I've got one going with Ben, which just started, which, you know, will have its ups and downs. We'll see when it does, but every once in a while I get to play those. I also like to play different factions just to switch it up, like when I play my Black Templars or I play my Guard or whatever it is I'm doing, I switch it up a little bit. You know, sometimes you all get to see it here on the channel, sometimes you don't, because the algorithm looks at my video and goes, Skari playing Black Templars? There's no Dark Eldar here? Algorithm poo, right? Whatever. Anyway. You can also totally get some competitive practice out of narrative or a fun formats. You absolutely can. You know, just play good Warhammer, right? Fundamental Warhammer. So even in a Crusade match, you can read the mission, understand how to score your points, understand what the deployment is like, and then infer how to play it in a competitive way, or how to learn competitively from that, like, what damage do you need to do to get the job done, you know, what can you sacrifice, whatnot, plus having a good time and creating a story, right? It's a nice, fine balance that you can kind of achieve there. But I hope that answers your question, Brimstone. Moving on, too much coffee. Never too much coffee, as you can see. I have coffee right here. I will admit, though, it is decaf, because I already had a calf, and then I already took my ADHD meds, which means decaf for the rest of the day. Happy Friday, Skari. Hope you had a good week. I had so far 2 more days to go, although, yeah, Friday. I've got my 40k league game tonight, which is awesome, my second round of the league. And I have coaching calls, 1, 2, 3, 4 coaching calls today. And then tomorrow, Sunday, I'm seeing about setting up my Necromunda League game. And then, sorry, Saturday. Then Sunday, I have Dungeons and Dragons scheduled later in the evening. So, let's just say, got a couple of things. But I'm excited to have a relaxed weekend. I feel like I haven't had a break since Wet Coast. Like, I've been going non-stop, and I've been feeling it this week. Like, feel like my body's just aching. I'm like, I need a break. Mint cocoa. That's delicious. Market corn, 4 coaching calls. Ha ha ha. Why is that funny, Mark? Why is that funny? And a partridge in a pear tree. Hello. Okay, sorry. I'm noticing a pattern in my losses wherein I blunder turn 1 and then spend the rest of the game fighting for my life. Okay, good example. I charged the Solitaire turn 1, aiming to snipe out Makari and a Painboy, but I did not account for the pile-in, which allowed my opponent to touch and wipe my screen of bikes. My opponent often remarks how meticulous a player I am, so I think these errors are coming from feeling a bit anxious off balance on turn 1. Seem to find my rhythm in turns 2 and 3, but it would be nice to stop punching myself in the face and making the game harder for myself. Tips on how to vibe from the starting gun. I love how you describe that. 7 shots of espresso. I love to count. Okay, I get it. 1 coaching call. Yeah, okay. It's not ha ha ha. It's right, right. What are the coaching calls for Drakari only 40k tax in general? Michigan. So, just as a quick coaching plug, I have 4 coaching tiers. Three coaching tiers. I've got the Trueborn, the Incubi, and the Painmaster level tiers. They all have like different elements. In a coaching call, I coach. It's a personalized coaching call, so we develop a coaching plan together that's based off of a person's individual needs. It's not like there are certain lessons that I do over the course of someone's development, but it's very much a personalized coaching program where it's designed to identify what each person needs and really use my experience to focus on working goals or like check marks and stuff like that to improve on those specific hot spots within someone's development. Do I coach only for Drakari? No. I coach for every army because I teach fundamental Warhammer skills as much as I do teach like faction skill, right? It's 30 years of playing Warhammer, tabletop war games, just gives you an understanding of how to pace the game, how to score points. So if you want to learn how to win and create a foundation that is not just meta chasing or let's just play this best list, that's what I teach. I teach you how to fire me so that you learn how to play the game of Warhammer more fundamentally solid, right? And develop a system for your own development in the future. So it's like I'm a personal trainer more than a coach. You come to the gym and say, I want to have good abs. And I'm like, okay, so for good abs, we have to use these machines and you have to do them once a week or this is the diet, this is your like training regimen, this is the program, and you go, absolutely. And then you do it, then you get good abs, and then you learn how to get good abs in the future. Right? That's kind of how that works. Just to answer that question. But thank you for the question, Michigan. I had my first game with the bomber, just painted and built, proceeded to miss all its shots, and then rep X'd into oblivion. Yep, that happens. Poor bomber. Makes me sad. It's still not 300 points, though. So, I have failed on making it 300 points. Now, to answer your question, too much coffee, there are a couple of mantras that I teach. Number 1, do not turn a turn 1 into a shitty deployment. I think that's probably the first mantra. It's like, do not turn your first turn into a shitty deployment, right? Because we spend so much time learning how to deploy and hide behind buildings, and then all of a sudden you go, you know what I need to do? Rush forward. And then you go, oh, now my opponent gets to go, and my deployment is now terrible because I moved into a really shitty deployment. So don't turn your turn 1 into a shitty deployment. And number 2 is hide. Like, the game is 5 turns. It's quite a long game. You do not need to win the game on turn 1, right? Just hide. Especially if you go first. Hide. See what your opponent does, then make a decision on what you want to do. And I think those two, I know it sounds very straightforward and simple, but keeping those two in your head will give you that sort of like just, you'll move and go, do not turn it into a shitty deployment. And then you'll kind of reevaluate. And I think about that a lot. This is awesome. My web browsing at work is limited due to firewall rules, but I'll check this out at home. Thank you. No problem, Michigan. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's all on the Patreon. So I do coaching through the Patron page, and I do coaching through Art of War. They're both a little different in terms of what they offer and stuff, but they're all listed there, and you can pick me as a coach if you would like. And I would love to work with you. Yes to the title, says Magic. Yeah, Poopoo Slate. Those make sense. Thank you. No problem. Too much coffee. Thank you for the question. That's sort of like That's what that's kind of how I think about turn 1. I spend arguably too much time on deployments and turns 1 and 2, but try to speed up later. Time is a resource. Correct. Time is definitely a resource. Like, it's one of those things where, like, there's a battle report I filmed this week against Thousand Suns, and my opponent had 10 Terminators, Magnus, teleporting stuff, a deep striking Demon Prince with 1,000,000 shots, lots of rubrics and flamers, and lots of bow goats, right, to do actions and stuff. And I spent, like, my first turn and second turn were the times I spent the most amount of time making sure I didn't instantly lose. Because playing against Thousand Suns is a fine balance, because anything you put out there dies. Like, I put out 8 units, they will all die. I put out 3 units, they die. 2 units, they die. 7 units, they die, right? So I had to be very meticulous about angles and where I put stuff, especially since we were playing on layout 2, which was wild. So make sure you stay tuned for that battle report. It should be out next week. Thanks for making fast battle reports. I appreciate your gameplay and thought process. Well, thank you, Magic, for watching the battle reports, leaving a like, sharing, subscribing, checking out the Patron page. All that really helps me make more battle reports. No, but I like it. Like, I try to keep it short and sweet and talk about tactics and, like, actually teaching people something. That's sort of like the whole point. It's entertaining, it's fun, we have a good time, but I hope you learn a few things from the battle reports. Moving on. Greg, Tragic Grief. How do you stay focused on a new list that you're trying out when other models in the army are calling out to you? Data Slate update notwithstanding. AKA, no update? So when I'm developing an army list for Warhammer, the thing that keeps me focused is sort of like a dogged determination to make my concept work, right? So, for example, I built a list that is all about drop potting and deep striking with a Hammerfall bunker. So I have a Hammerfall bunker, a Fire Strike turret, 2 drop pods filled with Space Marines, and I've got a unit of scouts. And then I have the regular stuff that I like: a lone up lieutenant, scouts, Rep X, right? Unit of like Sword Brethren, a Marshal, a Castellan, a Lieutenant, an Empress Champion, Assault Intercessor. I've got all the elements that I like. But, I look at it and I'm like, I really like JPI. Or I really want like a Lancer or some sort of Gladiator or one of the Land Speeders. But I really want this concept to work. So the first thing I do is I play about 5 to 6 games before I start oogling or ogling other units to put in my list and see if the concept at least works. But I give it a good four tries, right? Before I really start going, no, I need this unit's calling me and I need to bring it into the game or whatever. So it depends. It's about personal discipline, Greg. Now, I know your list that you were developing with your Templars didn't change too much, which is awesome. Just a quick little change and your list basically stayed the same with the point differences, which is great. That's like one of the best things, is if you can make a change without changing too much, amazing. Good morning, Emperor Zainan. What's going on? Troy says, got a Razorback Rhino for Grey Knight fit. 2 last, Bolter, Paladin, Brother Terminates, 10 Standard, Dread Knight, Librarian, Character Selection, Thinking Crow. Troy, that paragraph is very confusing. I feel like you're trying to ask me a question, but I don't get the whole question. We just need to get Skari to stop calling pain tokens command points. Oh my gosh. You know how many do you know how many comments I got in that? Skari, the homunculus gives you pain tokens, not command points. I'm like, oh my god. Yes, I know it does. I didn't give myself command points. I'm so freaking tired. I called pain tokens command points because they're like command points. They're like a different type of command point. They're just one that only Dark Eldar units can use, even when they're battle shocked, and they unlock a special stratagem. That's what a pain token is. It's basically a command point. Hey, what's going on, Foz? Dennis, computer late to the party, had a work meeting. Silly work meetings. Well, actually, yeah, normally you'd be on time, Foz, but this time I started early. Just joined the Patron, looking forward to finally getting my army together for Darkin. Hey, thank you, brother Saltspire. Really appreciate the support on the Patron page. Really means a lot. It's funny, once again, had somebody drop and be like, their Patron, and their exit comment was, Skari was not as active as I expected. I'm like, how? How am I not active? I am doing things all the time. I don't understand. What is your expectation of me? uh, it's just funny to me. I'm like, I don't know what else I could do, okay? Oh my gosh. Anyway, moving on. um, Chill asks, what is your absolute favorite Drukhari model, and when is Vect coming back? Oh, Vect. I miss my Vect. I painted my Days of Destruction Vect that I had in a box for like 3 years. One of the first models I painted during the COVID lockdowns was my Vect model. And it was because I took so much time. I painted each individual model. I painted it all individually, like all the pieces were individually painted and glued onto the model. It's one of my favorite models that I ever painted. Vect coming back would be really cool. I honestly don't think Vect will come back because of the fact that Vect is like so powerful. Why would they bring Vect in? Like, I guess they have Gulliman and the Lion, so it's like within the realm of possibility, but I don't think Vect would ever set foot in real space. At all. Ever. Why? Why would Vect ever set foot on real? Maybe he wouldn't set foot, but why would he like go into real space? He would send a clone potentially, like, but not him, like not Vect himself. You're not in the voice chat 24/7, Skari. How dare you have a life? Non-stop dark in action. Oh my gosh. Don't want 24/7. They want 38. Yeah, I know, right? Oh my gosh. Anyway, he'd do it for the vibes. Yeah, fair, Noah. Maybe just show up, be like, I miss going. Let's say one of those, I don't know, like like an old school sports person that like gets to go and be on the sports things, like, or play on the like historical all-star game because they miss it, that sort of thing. It'd be cool. Why bring something so powerful as Vect when a fistful of Satan shards? Oh wait, yeah, okay, fair enough. Non-stop Komara action. That's right. My favorite Drukhari model, Chill, is the Tantalus. I know that model is now Legends, but I have 2 of them in my Legends shelf, and they are the freaking coolest. I love my Tantalus, and I hope they come back someday. Vect commemorative model with no rules. Problem solved. I know, right? Like a little display piece. Like, imagine if we got like one of those like they've been doing those like miniature Joy Toy Space Marines. Imagine like a Joy Toy Vect. That'd be cool. John says, "Hey Skari, hello John. I'm playing against the new Blood Angel attachment next week. Is that the Death Company one? Do you have any tips on how to deal with them with Drukhari?" So when I see Blood Angels, all I read here is Space Marines. So the trick to playing any Space Marines is you just treat them all as Space Marines. I don't care if it's Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Black Templars, Ultramarines, it's all just power armor. It's Space Marines. So as long as you have some decent tactics or strategies to play against Space Marines, you will be fine. They are very fast and maneuverable. They do have a lot of like hitting power, but the thing is, you have to remember, anything that attacks you will kill you, no matter what faction it's from. You could have 10 guardsmen shooting lasguns, will kill 5 incubi. You could have 10 chainsword wielding blood angels attacking incubi, and they will kill the incubi, right? It's so, like, it's not a matter of it being more dangerous or anything. The thing to think about with blood angels is they're space marines that have speed. And so the speed is the dangerous part. So it's about how do you mitigate the speed in the game. You have to slow them down. So how do you slow them down? Well, you can't really move, block, fly units, but you can make sure that you pre-measure how far they can go, don't give them targets that you're not willing to lose, and force them to send that speed to certain locations, ideally locations that are close to where they are, so they don't get the maximum effect of their speed, right? If you move a bunch of things onto an objective that's like 2 inches away from a jump pack unit, and that jump pack unit has to move in to kill that unit, they used what? They didn't really use their jump packs, right? They just moved up and charged you. So you're limiting their speed by playing the mission. Anyway, so those are some of the tricks. And as always, just focus your fire. Don't get greedy and overkill the crap out of things. And just don't forget, they're just Space Marines. So we have lots of good weapons to kill Space Marines. Lilith, Incubi, if you're playing Cartel, Disintegrated Ravagers, Dark Lances are really good. Just keep the speed in mind and focus on the missions. That's like that would be like my generic, like how to play against Space Marines, but Blood Angels sort of thought process. When I don't see much of servitor units, think of 2 Necromunda sets. Yeah, so Necromunda is very, very good. Commander has a video on anything Blood Angels. Yep. Long-time listener, first-time chatter says Mordar's Vangrim. Hello, Mordar's Vangrim. Thanks a lot for coming to hang out. Layout 7, missions ABC, general thoughts, and to keep mind playing T-Sun's Grand Coven. Missions ABC, I don't know what those are. Layout 7 is interesting, so it's about trying to move into the positions to create screens, and it really depends on what your opponent has, right? When you're playing Dark Eldar, everything is relative. It's relative to what your opponent is playing, relative to the table, the layout, and the mission. So all those things will sort of determine how you want to play. As a rule of thumb, remember everything of your army is going to die, and that's completely fine, right? Just don't lose more things than you can every turn before you get tabled. So count up how many units you have in your army, divided by the number of turns that are left, and don't lose more than that every turn, and you should be fine. Necrons. I love Necrons, Troy. Hey, Skari, have you played much of the asymmetric missions? No, I have not. Started playing around with them recently. They're quite refreshing. I have played lots of campaign asymmetric style missions, but not the ones from the chapter-approved book. Is there a good detachment starting Drukhari? Found the channel from the second Combat Patrol video I made. Yeah, the 2 Combat Patrol video was very good. The detachment I would recommend to start is Reaper's Wager, because you have a good access to stratagems. Reroll 1s is very good, and it allows you to build an army with lots of things that supplement each other well. The more powerful detachments are Spectacle of Spite and Cabalite Cartel in terms of damage output. And then right under Reaper's Wager is Sky Splinter Assault, which increases maneuverability and damage output, but gives you less sort of like tactical options and requires a little bit more finesse to bounce in and out of your transports. So if I were just starting out Drukhari, I'd always recommend Reaper's Wager, because reroll 1s to hit and ignore Overwatch stratagem, very powerful, right? 94 listens and 20 likes. Come on, people. Yeah. The thumb up and commenting really helps the video get noticed. The YouTube algorithm recently changed to like engagement by likes, like thumbs and comments. So yeah, instead of just like view time and watch time and click rate, they've actually want people to interact with the video. Dark Lance that like button, everybody. Pew, 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 pew. Don't Dark Lance it like a Scourge, because they always miss against smoke. Dark Lance it like, I don't know, a re-rolling hits Archon. That's right. Don't forget your pain tokens. You can actually hit the button. There you go. Thanks, folks. Really appreciate the support. Kit asks a question. How do you pivot between styles of play? For example, between more aggressive versus defensive or MSU versus bricks? I see you play so many different detachments, unit sizes. Is it just practice? Is it just practice? Yes. Yes, it is. I like to, whenever I'm coaching someone for the first time, one of the things I like to say is, I have lost more games than you have ever played. I've lost more games than you have ever played. So, which means, yes, it's a lot of practice. But a lot of the times it's about understanding what practice is. There's a big difference between practice and performance, right? So if you're playing practice games, you have to allow yourself to practice. So many times I find people who are learning how to play the game or have a goal to become, win an RTT or to get better at the game. So many times do those people equate their value or their sense of accomplishment with a win-loss rate, right? With a win-loss number that involves all their practice games. Who the fuck cares about your win-loss in practice? Nobody cares, right? What did you learn? That's what I care. What did you learn in practice? Did you try something crazy? Did it work? Did it not work? Did you push the limits of your army list? Did you push the limits? Did you go past that limit and go, you know what would be really cool if I put 1,000 points in my army in reserve and then redeployed 700 more points of my army into reserve with malice? And what does it do? What happens if I do this? But my ego, says Mark. Uh, that's funny. Um, anyway, so that's how I've learned how to pivot from different styles of play. It's I allow myself to practice. So when I'm doing something silly, or when I'm practicing, or when I'm filming a battle report, or when I'm playing a game, even at like my local league, like who the hell cares about okay, I do not want to belittle people's accomplishments. Like for some people, the local league that they go to, the RTT they go to, that is their opportunity to perform. So yes, if you're at those times and you're trying to push your win rate up and you're performing, you're doing a performance run, yes, you should take your time, you should make the proper decisions, you should take the information that you've learned and apply it. That's what you're doing during a performance run. If, like for myself, going to an RTT is a practice. I'm there to test things, test a new list concept, test a detachment, test playstyles. Like, when I went to the tournament this past weekend with the Coven, I was just testing. I was seeing how far could I go. I played against the Sisters of Battle player that won the event. I lost that game, but in that game I was like, I'm going to go for fixed. I'm going to go for assassinate and establish locus because I don't really want to play the game. I don't want to have to go and press buttons and do actions, and I just want to hide, send a sacrificial unit to the middle of the board to press a button or into your deployment zone, and you have a million characters that can resurrect, so I'm just going to kill them. And if you resurrect them, I get more points. So it just kind of worked, and at the end of the day, that was great. It was just the mission was terrible. I couldn't get primary points. But that aside, I practiced. I tested something. Well, this stream just got demonetized. Actually, it's been going for about an hour, so usually they don't check it past. They don't check it past the half an hour mark. The AI only scrubs like the first 20 minutes because somebody's already like watching for this far. You never know. Then again, I was very loud, so maybe it gets pushed into the like little scrub AI things that they do or whatever. Anyway, we'll see. If it does get demonetized, support me on Patreon. The links are down below. Anyway, moving on. So that hopefully that answers your question, Kit. It's really like the fact that I've given myself the opportunity to fail multiple times, and I'm not afraid of failing because I want to see what it feels like, right? Anyway, so moving on. Archon Morsan says, what is the current most competitive list for the Dark Kin? And what are the list's best and worst matchups? Well, yeah, exactly. What are the list's best and worst matchups? So Morsan, I would say the most competitive lists are Spectacle of Spite and Cavalite Cartel. So Spectacle of Spite is a good all-rounder. It is designed. There are a couple of ways to build it, but I think clearer heads have prevailed than the ridiculousness that was happening. And folks have understood that, like, in order to build a good spite list, like I said all along, you need to have some shooting, so like 1 or 2 units of Scourge, just to keep people honest about the open areas of the table and to prevent people from just putting Overwatch threats everywhere. And you take like 40 witches or so, 40 or 50 witches, and it's very much a denial game. You're going in, you're stopping your opponent from scoring points, you control their movement with a challenge met, and then you have hammers in the Hellions that come down and like do a lot of damage when they get involved, right? Which is another thing about the slate, like the fact that Hellions stayed the same, Witches stayed the same, and then Kabalite stayed the same. It's like, sure, they lowered racks, but like, where's the rest of it? Anyway, so that's kind of what I would sort of like say. The best matchups, it just depends. I think there's like Dark Eldar are in a unique position. If you know how to play Dark Eldar, there are very few terrible matchups. But if you don't know how to play Dark Eldar or you're learning, there are very many hard matchups, right? So it really depends on like your player skill. At the end of the day, it's about making sure that you have discipline regardless of the matchup to not get tabled too quickly. But it's okay to get tabled as long as you win. You know, that's just kind of how it works. Sioda Collins. So as a new Warhammer player, how far have I effed up in wanting to play Drukhari? I'm thinking about starting with Cabalite Cartel or Covenant Coterie. Any input there? Chat. So Collins, I would say I like Cabalite Cartel. It's one of my favorite detachments. I think it gives you a lot of punch into the current meta. There's a lot of damage output. Covenant Coterie is not what I would play if I wanted to win a tournament, if that makes sense. It's really fun. I enjoy it just because I like playing all the different facets of the detachment. But it's not something I would be like, this has all the tools I need to win, you know. Yeah. Also, Collins, always collect, paint, and play something you find fun because you will continue to do the hobbying, collecting, and playing part, whether the rules are good or bad, if you like it, you know. Very, very important. Hey, Mark, thank you for the super chat. Take that, demonetization. Love you, Skari. Take our steaks raw and juicy. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the $8.88, which is a very corn number of you to put up there. That goes on the pile of skulls next to the brass throne of corn, right? Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, Mark. You are a gem, and I really appreciate it. With a side of grilled mushrooms and onions. Yeah, thank you. But Morsan, you know, I'd say like with Spectral Spite, anything that has lots of pistols can be really annoying because they can shoot pistols in combat. And when you're playing against and then Cabalite Cartel, one of the toughest matchups, can be like I found like it's something with like a lot of indirect is really annoying. But like Cabalite Cartel is very good. I've found that there are less worse matchups with Cartel than with Spite. But I find Spite to be more powerful in sort of like a team environment where you can steer away from like they're very like unique things that are bad. Like I would hate to play the Plague Legion, like the Nurgle Demon Plague Legion that forces like 50 battle shocks in a game with any of my Dark Eldar armies because I would just fail a bunch of battle shocks and just everything would die, right? So, you know, Custodes can be a little annoying depending on the build. Anything with uppy downy is just annoying as hell. Like, and then there's the Tyranid matchup, which I've played so much, you'd think I'm really comfortable with, but it's so volatile, I find. Like, if you just don't kill that one monster you need to kill and it survives on like 2 wounds, it's like you might as well be playing Catan that are invincible, right? What if, and if you hear me out, Vect returns on a Tantalus? Oh, that would be so cool. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Kisme says, hey, Skari. Sorry that I don't have any Warhammer-related questions this week. Not a problem at all. But I'd like to participate. Excellent. I like it when the patrons participate. So my question is, what is your favorite meal cooked by your wife? She makes a mean, like, egg breakfast sandwich that's like egg, toast, avocado, right? And then we have like beans or like salsa and cheese. Absolutely, it's delicious. Absolutely delicious. Yeah, I'd say that's like one of my favorite meals. My wife like when she decides to cook. Yummy. I'd had difficult versus melee pressures as Cap Cartel, but that's just inexperience playing shooting armies. Yeah, so melee pressure can be a little hard, but I played against a melee pressure armies all the time, and I found ways to like Thunderwolves would probably be like Thunderwolves and like a bunch of Assault Terminators or whatever would be really annoying, but you just have to like play to the mission and the terrain and the layouts to kind of try and make it into your advantage. My Tyrannid head around the corner. You called? No, I didn't. Stay over there in your little brood hive. I'll send you a super chat. I just upped my membership to Trueborn, so that goes as some of my expendable income. Thank you so much, Rin Taoyoshi. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the support, and thank you, Foz, for the super chat. $9. Bit more from the 9th chapter to get a better steak. The 9th chapter. You making me find out which the 9th chapter is. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the super chat and the support. Ooh, I'm meal prepping green chili breakfast burritos. Yummy. That sandwich sounds it is delicious. Synth. Absolutely like the avocado, salt and pepper, lemon lime on the avocado. I am hungry actually. I haven't had breakfast. But that is a great question, Kisme. Thank you so much for the question. Mike Strutter asks, "Hey Skari, hello Mike. As I start my journey in pain, I love it. One question keeps niggling me. How do you weigh the 10 to 5 model balance? Hellions and Mandrakes both seem popular in bigger units. Lilith also has a choice between 5 in a Venom or 10 in a Raider. Should a list be packing at least one big unit, or is death by committee supreme?" If you're asking me, death by committee is supreme, but I do like having one hammer to get me out of a tight spot. So when I'm playing Spectacle, well, I guess 2 hammers. Like I have a 10 strong witch unit with a fights for succubus, but some people Lilith in it if they want it to be more of a hammer. I use it as a beast pack, which is yeet it in front of my opponent's army and dare them to make a move. And then I have the Hellions come in later, which is a 10 strong Hellion unit that can then go and do some damage. So that's like my thought process there. I would tell you that death by 1,000 cuts, death by committee is superior, but not because I think it's the most efficient way of doing damage. It's because of the dynamic of playing Dark Eldar, where everything in the Dark Eldar army is just dead. Like everything in the army is dead. You deploy it, it's dead. You put it in reserve, it's already dead. It's going to die at some point. It's just all dead. So my opponent kills 2 units of 5. That means I get to pick their deaths in 2 different locations or 2 different turns instead of 1 turn. So death by time is something like, I guess it's like, I'm like, this is me going into my autism brain for 40k. Whereas like I see colors, right? And wavelengths, right? But to me it makes sense. Where like I prefer to have more stuff that I can then have more control over its death time, right? Then have one big unit that I have to commit in one big spot, and then it dies usually just as easily as multiple 5s that then I could have expanded over multiple space and time, right? Does that answer your question, Mike? I hope that answers your question to a certain extent. But having like a nice, like I played with Sky Splinter the other day and I had a big brick of Incubi. I haven't done that in a while. But being able to send that Incubi brick into something and go, this kills that. Boom, dead, right? That felt very good, actually. That was quite cool. So, it depends, right? I think having a couple of hammers is important to get yourself out of a pinch, to have enough punch to be like, my opponent is pressuring me. I just need to punch you real hard. Get out of my way, right? And that could be really useful. But usually I prefer having multiple little things. That data slate hurt my soul. I know, right, Invader Boy Zim? Invader Zim, one of my favorite shows. I love Invader Zim so much. Tortilla is the perfect breakfast food. It is. Tortilla, beans, rice, yummy. Corn, aguacate, yummy. Also running out of homemade chimichangas in the freezer. So good. Not like you have a 10-man rack unit survive 1 turn, let alone 2 to 3. Might as well have one more, small units. Something I noticed, like I put 10 racks, and I even if I were to do the whole trick where I put like half the squad behind a wall and like 1 rack on the objective. I'm like, yes, my 1 rack is on the objective. My opponent will shoot these racks, not kill the whole unit, and then my homunculus will resurrect said rack onto the objective. Is that going to work? No. Brother Salspire, thank you so much for the super chat. $10. Is the army from the 2 combat patrols video still fine? Yes. I know they changed the Archons and some points probably changed. I think that the 2 combat patrol list was the core was 2 combat patrols. However, it's not a box you can buy anymore, but you should be able to sort of find the units themselves, right? So like if you have the units, I think it still works quite well. So it is something that I could do. Of course, there's a new battalion box. So what I would probably do is do like a how to build an army with a Drukhari battalion box, which has like the Archon, the Scourge, like all that stuff, and then build it. Probably playing Cavalite Cartel or Reaper's Wager, and then kind of going, this is what I would add to it, right? Lo and behold, if by chance they ever release a box set that has the models that are supposed to be in the box set. I can't, like, how do they mess that up? Anyway, but hopefully, Mike, that answers your question. And also, Brother Saltspire, yes, yeah, it's definitely something I can take a look at and kind of like make a little extra, video on it or something. Meadows asks, how are you feeling about splashing the new Corsair and Anthrite units, Starfangs, Karseth, Uriel, etc.? I'm loving them in their own coterie detachment, but what is the best place for them in the Dark City? Brought the 2 combat patrols, Venoms, and Lilith. Nice. That's awesome. Saltspire, really cool. That battalion box has a great starting point. Yes, yes, it is. So, Brother Saltspire, yeah, you can definitely build a list based off of that. The Carbolite Cartel would be probably the easiest because of the double Ravager, right? Double Ravager, you just needed a couple of Venoms. The Archons are very good. Lilith is very good as well, so you can definitely use it. I love not getting Hellions in my 500 Worlds box, right? Didn't you love it? Wasn't it amazing? I forgot about the Hellion debacle. I know. Hellion, like, how is the news cycle so short? Now everybody's like, oh no, Poopoo data slate, you know? It's like, and you forget, well, they they had to they didn't give anybody the product they paid for. So stupid. Okay, moving on. I'm such a Games Workshop shill. I love the company. I love the game. I've been playing it for 30 years, but like this kind of stuff just I roll my eyes. I'm like, "Oh my god." Time to change the title from Slate to the Hellion debacle. I know, right? How are you feeling? Oh yeah, sorry. So Meadows, to answer your question. I am really enjoying the idea of Corsairs Medist. As I said before, right now it's just theory, but I think Karseth is like the thing I want to add into my list. I have always wanted Dark Eldar, to have a 12-inch denial bubble, like Infiltrators or like something. However, 95 points is insanely expensive for that model. Like, it is stupidly expensive, right? I get that they're probably hyper valuing the +1 strength ability that it has, which, to be fair, is not bad, because it works in shooting and combat and it's quite good. But it's like, would I pay 95 points for a model that I just want in my back corner to prevent someone from deep striking? Me? Yes, I would actually pay that much for that model just to have a 12-inch denial bubble so I can just have one model sitting in the back and the rest of my army up front. However, it just really helps against like 6-inch deep strike armies. Like tunneling Nids and Grey Knights and Genes to the Cult and all this stuff that I just find very frustrating to play against. So the value for me is like invaluable. Like, I will cut corners in other spots just so I don't have a unit deep strike 6 inches away from me, right? Like, that's the kind of thing. 85 points for my stupid Lash Whip Prime. Ah! Yes, okay, fair enough. At least it's not a Lash Whip Prime. I'm still salty about how they handled the last battle box, but my LGS hooked me up with a refund and then gave me the 2 boxes. Nice. That's good, Noah. At least you're like, the local friendly game stores are always going to have you as best as they can in their hearts, right? So that's super important as well. Well, and then the second thing, Meadows, that I'm looking at is the Sky Reavers, which are the jump pack. And I'm looking at them as a pseudo beast pack, right? So 5 of them strung out is almost the same size as a unit of Reaver jet bike strung out, right? But they have a 7-inch scout move plus a 12-inch move, so it's like 19 inches plus an advance. So you can get up to about the same amount of distance as a jet bike unit can do, except you can go through walls, so you can go straight. So to move block on a corner or something, I think 75 points for unit. So right now I'm looking at what? 170 points for that sort of combo. For Karseth and that. However, in any game where I have out of line of sight guns, Karseth is getting shot like instantly, right? So I may be incentivized to take a unit of just Corsair Reavers or like the Corsair troops, just to put Karseth in there just in case, you know. Or I also like the Starfang. I think the Starfang's quite good because it's like a mini Ravager that has a blast disintegrator cannon. So in my list that has a Ravager, like adding a instead of taking a second Ravager, I can take a Starfang, which is like a mini Ravager for like less points. So, you know. Anyway, just thoughts. Yeah, beast packs are very good, but having the ability to like move up, and this Sky Breaver unit has like 2 melta guns and a melta pistol, so like you could actually move it up, scout, move, not even advance, and then like, or maybe advance if they have assault, and then like blow up a lone up lieutenant or something. You know, you never know. Or like, you know, it's got a little bit more punch than the beast pack ever did. Or you can go full blown and take 10 of them in one unit, and then have 4 melta guns, right? 2 blasters, 2 fusions, and like just have like the actual chance of maybe killing a vehicle on the first turn. And then you combine that with Malice's aggressive play, and then you have the screen plus Malice that can then pop back into a Venom. And you've got like a cool little board control game dynamic that you can do from the beginning of the game, which I think is important. Okay, so moving on. That is the question segment. Now we get to go to the most popular segment of the show, which is the list crunch segment. It's a list clinic segment where patrons, so Scourge, Trueborn, Incubi, and Painmaster level patrons, can submit an army list every week when we do the show. And I read the list and give you my thoughts. It's an opportunity for you to like ask questions about list building, tap into my brain when it comes to like developing a list, because sometimes building a list and finding a good dynamic can be a little tough. And that's why we have the list crunch. Now, why is it called list crunch? Is because we don't just crunch the numbers, we crunch the deliciousness that is the bowl of list crunchos. List crunchos, the best part of a competitive diet, starts with list crunchos. Can you turn your mic volume up a bit? It says Coach Mike. Well, no. I feel like it's at a good level. You might need to turn your volume up a bit. I've never had anybody say it's too low. Chat? Comments? Concerns? Could I turn my volume up a bit? I feel like it's at a good level. But I could up it, I think, maybe a tad, without it like spiking too crazy. Especially when I'm like yelling and then have to yell or something. Okay. Volume is balanced and good. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, it's been decent, Coach Mike. Valdis, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, moving on. Baz says, "Good morning, Skari. I present for your surgical dissection. Little Timmy never forgets." F you, competitive Timmy. I want an extra scout unit and infiltrate in the current meta to move block turn 1, thus plus 2 Hands of the Archon. I could drop 1 Scourge unit for Reavers and a Chronos, convert 1 Cavalite squad to a Hand of the Archon, but I like the idea of 3 Scourge. What would you suggest / other changes? Okay, so you're playing a Cavalite Cartel, you've got 5 points left over. So you have an Archon with the Informant Network, you have an Archon with the Warlord Webway Ol, an Archon with the Leech Bite Plate, so 5 points there. You could drop that to get 10 points left over in your list. You got Lady Malice, 2 units of cabs, 2 Hands of the Archon. I would change the Phantasm on the hands to the banners. They already have the grenade keyword. So all you're gaining with the Phantasm is a smoke, which isn't as beneficial to the warriors who gain smoke and grenade keyword with the Phantasm grenade launcher, except the extra OC is very useful on the hand. Just having that one model be 4 OC on their chosen objective, or just 2 OC base, like it's quite good. It's like 2 models. You can have like Malice and the hand with the little banner be 4 OC without being on their objective that they're trying to get to, and like deny a Catan, right? Like it's quite good. 5 Mandrakes, 10 Mandrakes, 2 Ravagers, 1 with Lances, 1 with Disease, 3 Scourges with Dark Lances, 4 Venoms. So the biggest thing here is you've got 4 Venoms, you split everything. Good. So you have lots of little trash units. The thing that you're missing is like fast skirmishing units. So the one Scourge unit I would drop. I would put in a unit of Reaver jet bikes. Right? Are Reaver jet bikes 70 for, or are they 65 for 5? I don't even remember. Haven't built a list of Reaver jet bikes in a while. AKA, I have all the Reaver jet bikes all the time in my list. Yeah, there's 70 points, so it's 140. So you can get like one Scourge unit, and then you have 60 points left over, which allows you to put in a rack unit now. Cool. Oh, but you have 5 points left over here. If you drop the Leech Bike plate and use the 5 points, which I think is a good take, you drop a Scourge unit, put 2 Reaver jet bike units in. That's what I would do. You need a couple of fast moving skirmishing units that you can kind of throw to your expansion objective or your opponent's expansion to like deny a point or move block something quickly or get like a behind enemy lines or like a quick action secondary in a place that you need. Having those bikes is very, very important. Other than that, I like that you have lots of little trash and moving, and the damage output is there, but I would recommend that. I also really, really like Chronos, so personally I would drop the second Ravager in favor of a Chronos unit or 2 single Chronos because I like having more things that can do actions and are like give me command point effectiveness early in the game until I get my contract cycle going. You could up it if I'm not somewhere quiet. It's always hard to understand you, but I never say anything, just on a quiet place. Thank you, Kisme. I appreciate your feedback as well here. I'll maybe up it a couple of decibels over here. Okay, moving on. But that's, yeah, so that's what I think, Baz, in terms of competitive Timmy's list. Dorian, no comments, just a list. Xenos, Sky Splinter. So I did play Sky Splinter recently. That's the next detachment that I'm going to be sort of like fiddling around with. Lady Malice, Lilith, Archon with the Nightmare Shroud, and Archon with just Archon. 2 units of cabs, a unit of witches, a hand, 2 5-strong incubi, 2 mandrake units, 2 scourge units with heavies, a reaver unit, a Chronos, a ravager with dark lances, a raider, and 4 venoms. So, this list is not bad. I don't think you need the second Archon or the second unit of Cabalites. Personally, I think you could drop that. That's 195 points. What would I do with 195 points? I'd put in Hellions. Yeah, like you have a couple of Reavers, which is good, but I would try and squeeze in a couple of Hellion units. Hellions are fantastic in every list. Now that they didn't go up in points, just maximize on the fact that Hellions are great. Reactive move, deep strike. Like you can do 1 big unit of 10 or 2 units of 5. I'd recommend 2 units of 5. I've put 2 units of 5 in my Sky Splinter list, and I think that's great. I'm not sure how many points you have left over, if any, but that would be 170 points. And then you'd have 25 points left over. So with 25 points left over, like, what could you do? Like, if anything, at that point, you can drop a Venom, right? Because you drop a Venom because you don't have that second unit of Cabalite Warriors, so you only need 3 Venoms. And then you've got 95 points left, which allows you to make one of the squads of Incubi 10. So then you have a 10-strong unit of Incubi. Or you put in Drazar. I think Drazar is not bad in this detachment, especially with like the 5 Incubi. So you have 5 Incubi with the Archon, 5 Incubi with Drazar, Malice with the Hand of the Archon, Lilith with the Witches, right? And then you can split Lilith or put her in the Raider, and you can mix and match who goes in where. It gives you lots of transport options, which I think is very important when you're playing with Dark Eldar. I know you will review anything, but think it's worth sending a Crucible of Champions list? Yes, absolutely. I would love to see the champions. Like, sure, like, if you're playing with champions, yeah, fit it in. Find a good dynamic with your Crucible of Champions stuff. It doesn't have to be just straight up match play competitive all the time. Like, play something you enjoy, especially if your friends are allowing it. Hello, Skari. Hello, Paul. Time to serve up a satisfying list crunchos. I love it, Paul. I had a surprisingly good time with the Plague Legion at the doubles event last weekend. I know. Congratulations. You guys did great. You went 2-1. your cool concept was awesome. I hope it worked out. Like the write-up was really cool on the Patron Discord. Like great pictures, write-up, great. Like I'm glad you and your partner had a fantastic time. I have some ideas about making it a nasty 2,000 point list, but it's complicated to play. It is. It is. For the next months, at least, I will stick to my unexciting but reliable Death Guard. Yeah, fair enough. Running into big monsters, running big tough monsters, I realize there's tremendous value in the Death Guard Plague Bus. Yes. Yes, there is. Plague Marines with crit 5s is very good. It's almost 400 points. But between shooting and melee, should really hurt at least 2 tough units. Yes, and then in Overwatch, a third. With Virulent Victorian's rerolls, hits and wounds, it really does slap. And the -1 damage, which keeps it alive in Virulent Victorian. So, just saying. Still running Typhus, Blightbringer, and 20 Poxwalkers. I love that little combo personally. That's the kind of combo I like for Toolkit. And now that I use the Walking Demon Prince properly as an annoying tool, lone up natural expansion holder, he will stay in this list forever. I'm glad you learned how to use the Demon Prince, Walking Demon Prince. That's fantastic. I feel bad losing the third Death Round unit. 2 units each with a Lord of Contagion are great Deep Strike surprises, but now only 2. Yeah, it happens. Tallyman is a maybe. Rather unreliable CP generation. Also, not just CP generation, you have to look at the Tallyman as sit in the back corner and hold your home objective after sticking it and screening out the backboard. So it does more than just, and instead of like Karseth that's 95 points, the Tallyman does it for the low price of not 95 points. Maybe bring 2 spawn, so I don't have to do backfield screening. Yeah, 2 spawn is fine. 2 spawn is also good. Like, I do like Death Guard spawn. Death Guard spawn, Scout, they're very good. They also have OC. Drazar is a bit more redundant in Sky Splinter, though, with the Lance detachment rule with his own +1 to wound. Simred, yeah, sure, but it also means you don't have to use his pain token for the +1 to wound, right? So, like, if you can use the +1 to wound once his vehicle explodes, or you can just run him around, right? So that's completely up to you. I have 105 points left. I'm not sure what to do. 5 more Plague Marines, another Rhino, turn a 10 model Poxwalker into a 20, Bloat Drone, Mephitic Blightholder. My vote would be for Mephitic Blightholder. Those things are great, and you need to crack open the transports to get to the juicy insides. Mephitic Blightholders are excellent. So if you have points left over, try and fit in another Mephitic Blightholder. So we've got Demon Prince and Urgle, Mini Morty with the 5-up, Feel No Pain, a Putrefier, Contagion with a Furnace, Lord of Contagion, Plaguecaster, Blightbringer, Tallyman, Typhus, 10 Plagues, Rhino, Spawn. You already have 3 Spawn. That's excellent. Death Shroud, Poxwalker. Good. You could drop 1 unit of Poxwalkers. I think 20-10 is good. Like 30 is a good number, but 1 unit of 20 with like, you know, Typhus and the Blightbringer, right? Good. The Tallyman for 50 points is excellent. Just keep him. You'll need the CP, so he'll give it to you sometimes. And then you have enough CP to do your cool combos, which I think is important. So you don't have to rely on throwing away cards and stuff like that. Which means you could always then go for like a fixed mission if you really want and don't have to worry about dropping cards to gain CP or getting really good with your CP generation, because odds are you'll get a CP once in a while, right? Which is really good. 10 Plague Marines and a Rhino, excellent, with all the stuff that makes it crazy powerful. And then if you have some points left over, you know, I would definitely try getting a Mephitic Blightholder, personally, right? If anything, I would actually drop 10 Poxwalkers, but if you do like them, maybe you could add in another Lord of... Oh, you have 2 Lords of Contagion already, so you don't need another one of those. Yeah, that's where I'd go. Like, you know, 5 more Plague Marines, maybe a Hellbrute, right? To give you... Shoot something and put it into Plague. So if it's, like, really far away, you can, like, shoot something, put it into Plague. And I think that's how that works, right? And then have something that might, like, punch something every once in a while. You know, a little countercharge unit, nothing too crazy. But I would pick Mephitic. Gotta go. Houses need building. Look forward to catching up on the rest. Thank you, Noah. Thanks for coming to hang out. Really appreciate all of you, by the way. Anybody who's watching right now, thank you so much. I do this show for patrons every week. It's the weekly show. Every once in a while, like once a month, usually I open it up for the public. But this is definitely something that we do behind the scenes. It's really nice to do it publicly every once in a while so that all of you become jealous. You'd like to support the Patron. The links are everywhere. Thank you so much for everybody to come hang out and liking and commenting and being a part of the community this Friday afternoon or morning or wherever you're tuning in from, anywhere in the world. I love it. It makes me, I enjoy hanging out with you, the community. So thank you so much. Sleepy Skari. Me. Ooh. Yawning. It's always tired, my friend. Cheers, Noah. See you tomorrow. Yes, gentle gin. Moving on. Brimstone asks, hello, Mr. Skari. This is definitely totally legitimate, honest, 100% accurate Eldar list. Yes, it is an Eldar list. I see that it is an Eldar list. You cannot trick me again, Brimstone. So if you haven't scrolled down to check yet, what are your thoughts on it? I played a game with it and really enjoyed it. The Wind Riders combining was an excellent idea. I know, big, killy Wind Rider unit. Sometimes I have good ideas when it comes to list building. I'm like, this is what I would do because this is why I would do it. Because in practice, and I've either seen it happen or I've had it experienced against me or I've used said thing, I get to figure it out how it works, right? I think I'm going to play a few more games with this before I change anything with it. But I was considering changing the detachment to Warhost instead of Aspect Host. What are your thoughts? Okay. This is a conversation I had with Folger, right? Mr. Number 1 in the ITC Folger. Okay? About Aspect Host versus Warhost. Okay? Now, by the way, I do want to say, me, number 1 Eldari player in the world, 2 years in a row. That's right. Number 1 Eldari player in the ITC, 2 years in a row. Me, a Drukhari player. So you want to play good Eldar, you know what to play, folks. I snatched it from Folger's hands 2 years in a row. Aha! That's mine. So I know something about Eldar. Just saying, okay? You want to know about Eldar, you talk to this guy right here. So, like, talking to Folger, because he'd been playing Eldari, like, the entire season, he's like, look, in Aspect Host, or it was also Liam VSL. Like, I was talking to Liam VSL, I was also talking to Sacco, right, who was playing, who went almost all the way at London GT, about, like, in passing, Aspect Host versus Warhost. And Warhost was the Drukhari player. That's right, me. Warhost was the better of the two in most cases. Because, like, Folger was always like, look, people argue that they need Aspect Host to increase the damage output. Like, reroll 1 to hit, reroll 1 to wound is like damage. But he's like, because I know what I'm doing, basically is what Folger said. Like, I'm paraphrasing. But because I know what I'm doing and I practice, the damage isn't a problem. Like, if I need to kill something, I know what stratagems to use, like how many units to put into it. If I need something dead, it'll be dead, right? And that's like at a high level, you just have an instinct for that sort of thing, regardless of what detachment you're running. You kind of have an idea of what you need instinctively to sort of like eliminate a target, right? And so he says, Warhost is way more effective just because you have access to the fallback shoot and charge strat. And you have uppy downy, right? And so those two things in the hands of a competent player will win you games more than rerolling 1s to hit or rerolling 1s to wound. Being able to grab a unit, pull it from the board, and bring it in anywhere else at any time to get points, to kill a target you need to kill. Like, just having those tactical tools in your back pocket is game winning. Let alone the fact that you get more tokens and your tokens are more effective for the battle focus mechanic. So, in general, I think that Aspect Host is a good, like what I would say Reaper's Wager, it's like a good starter set for Eldar. Like, it's reliable, right? Your units shoot, you've got decent strats, you got like spiking damage with like the critical hits and stuff. But then if you go to wanting to play the game in a more like formal capacity, right? Where you're like, I know what I'm doing, but I need tools to play 10 to 12 rounds at a tournament, including a shadow round and stuff, like I need to be able to get out of a combat if somebody piles into me, right? And then ties up my fire dragons and I can't shoot with them. Like losing an activation with a unit like that is not good, right? So having the ability to sort of run away with them and then still shoot and charge and whatever, that is worth its weight in gold. And I think that's sort of where the debate, in my opinion, Warhost wins because of the toolkit aspect of the detachment. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I've seen you used to play against Space Wolves. What's your grounded opinion on Space Wolves compared to Space Marines in general? Well, thank you for your question. So, first of all, yes, I sleep well, thank you. Secondly, I like Space Wolves. Space Wolves are very cool. Yeah, they have a lot of unique units, but you kind of want to build them within sort of like the framework of the detachments that are just built for Space Marines. So you're building them within Gladius, you're building them within Stormlance. They have some good unique units and some very good tools, but I think just like any Space Marine army, you want to start with the 4 pillars of a Space Marine army, which by the way have not changed. Intercessors, Infiltrators, Combi Weapon Lieutenant, and Scouts. That 4 units should be in every Space Marine list. Wolfen with Storm Shields for the win. Yes, and the grenade packs. Which, by the way, if you have never faced 10 Wolfen with grenade packs as an elf, like, you're in for a treat. Those things are mean. They kill everything, like anything does. Moving on. Aspectos, you got Azraman, which apparently went up in points. Eldrad, Fugan, Janezar, Lycus, Ortarch. So lots and lots of characters. I'm not a fan of this many characters at all. But last time we spoke, you said that you had bought sort of like most secondhand, and this is kind of what you needed to fill in the list. Like I don't like spending more than like 300 points on characters, which in Eldar means 3 characters, maybe 2, right? That's it. So I would pick which ones you want and use all the points you save on more stuff, because Eldar works really well when you have more stuff. Yes, yes, yes. I've played a little with New Wolf Scouts with Plasma Pistols. They slap, yes. Actually, Ben painted his Space Wolf Scouts for our little campaign. So I painted my Hammerfall bunker. He painted his Scouts. And we were both really excited to kind of try them out. And then the lights went out. As a Blood Angel player, I prefer Mephiston instead of Combi Lieutenant, especially with the points increase. Yes, like, that's a 1-for-1 change, right? Mephiston, Lone Op Lieutenant, like, you can switch them out. Absolutely. But it's like, you've got sort of like the same sort of mechanic, except he punches better. But his Lone Op and stuff doesn't have the reactive move, but he's like killy, tie people up, durable, right? You know, so he can use him in a very similar vein. Storm Guardians for Sticky. Yep. That's definitely one of the pillars of an Eldar army, in my opinion. 5 Dire Avengers, 10 Fire Dragons, 5 Banshees, 5 Rangers, 5 Scorpions, 2 units of 5 Spiders, 6 Wind Riders, a Falcon, and a Wave Serpent. So pretty standard. Based on the characters that you're running, this makes sense, right? What I would like to see is if you do switch to Warhost, you drop something like Eldrad, right? At that point, I don't think you need Eldrad. Like, Eldrad is a nice to have. I don't think he's a must have. Like, you could drop Eldrad and Storm Guardians. The Storm Guardians are nice, but you could drop Eldrad and put in, like, Swooping Hawks, right? And then have an uppy, downy, deep striking Swooping Hawk unit, as an example. You could drop the Autarch in Eldrad and get, like, 2 units of Swooping Hawks plus, like, something else. You know, like a Viper or a Warwalker for additional AP on things. Or, like, there's so many different things you do. Or the little Outrider jet bike things that, like, have a good scout and can get into people's faces. It's sad that non-Ultramarines got hit with a Combi Lieutenant attacks. Yeah, I know. Like, it is what it is. Like, he should have been increased in points, like, a year ago. Like, that Combi Weapon Lieutenant has been criminally undercosted for, like, the entire edition. But he's just been in every list. They just finally were like, you know what we should do? Just make people not use him for the end of the edition. It's like, people like, I'm going to put Scouts in now. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. 15 points means I drop an enhancement and keep my Lone Op Lieutenant because I like my Lone Op Lieutenant. Or my Combi Weapon Lieutenant, technically. Ages ago, insane he lasted so long. Right? Gentlegen, right? Anyway, so I like your list, Brimstone. That's kind of my thought process. Yeah, we'll talk about it on our call as well, if you want to. Ultramarines shouldn't have +1 to wound anymore, says Crispy. Sure. Like, it has kept them relevant, right? Like, it's kept them relevant. I think the biggest blow to Ultramarines will be losing Grav Calgar. Like, the fact that they just took Gravis Calgar, just deleted him from the MFM, right? Doesn't have points anymore. He's Legends. Or whatever. Means that was one of the best models. Like, you do not have a model that can join units that adds 2 more models that are very hard to kill to that unit, and he doesn't have his 4 at Feel No Pain. So now all of a sudden that unit is way more manageable than it ever was. Whatever unit he goes into, aggressors, Vitrix, whatever, which is excellent, right? I think that's very, very good. Like, so even though they have the +1 to wound, I don't mind that Space Marines can go, look, that is my oath target, and that target is dead. Like, I like that, right? It feels very Space Marine-y. Like, target acquired, nuke it, move on, right? And if they decide to bring a second oath, they don't get a free CP, right? Because if Calgar is not the warlord, right, Gulliman has to be the warlord if he's on the board. If Calgar's not the warlord, you don't get the free CP. So you get the double oath, but no free CP. You get a CP discount from Gulliman, but you don't get a free CP, right? So there is a balance in there to be had. Where is my Brutalis? More sad about the Redemptor Dreadnought. Yeah, Redemptor Dreadnought going up was like, sure. I guess they saw Innis run 3 of them, and they're like, never again. Where's my Brutalis discount? Yeah, I actually finally bought a Brutalis. He's on my pile of next thing I need to build. I've got a Brutalis, a Gladiator variant, and I just ordered a one of the speeders, like a strike speeder, Primaris speeder, and I ordered one of the ATVs as well. So I'm going to have a couple of different options. I'm just fleshing out my Black Templar collection, so I have like more things to try. Crispy says, I don't feel like playing Guard after the anemic data slate basically telling us to double down on Dorns in Grizzle Company or playing Soviet Human Wave in Recon. Yeah, fair enough. And that is completely fine, Crispy. I call the list Titus and the Bricks of Ultramar. The idea is to be as hard to remove as possible. Titus and co. join the Blade Guard, board the Land Raider, just rush the enemy's natural, while the Heavy Intercessors are an unmovable brick in mine. So, Heavy Intercessors can be unmovable, but there are armies that will instantly annihilate them like Scintillating Legion. So as long as you understand that, like, there are certain matchups that are going to be very bad for you, Space Marines are Space Marines. You know what? Every once in a while, I enjoy playing my Black Templars. Why? Because I like actually rolling saves every once in a while and being like, look, I'm toughness 4. You're strength 7? You and me on 3s? Oh my goodness, this feels great. Thank you very much. No problem. I think it's more insane that the Shadow nerfed killed things that didn't write a list of changes. Right. The Shadow changes are the worst because you're like, unless you're constantly paying attention with a fine tooth, or like, you know, it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh, look, they changed Necrosaur and Mentar's aura to not work on monsters anymore. Like, they didn't tell anyone. They just changed it in the faction pack. Saves are a trap, Skari. It makes you think the game is less killy. That's why I like playing my elves, because everything dies. It just dies. Hey, Skari. Hello, Tricky. I've been enjoying and learning lots about my recent descent into the Dark City. Excellent. Welcome. Welcome to the Denizen community. Building Drukhari for 11th. Not sure if this fits the topic of the show, but I'm hitting a wall. Color schemes. Ooh. So, something that I like to do is I have a palette. So if you notice, I have green, I've got the pink, I've got like the Warlord purple from Vallejo, I've got like a brown, which I use Mornfang brown a lot for my color brown. And if you notice the color is I use the same colors, but different. Like orange, purple, teal, right? All the colors I use in different spots across my entire army. So even though it's different, it's the same palette. So whether it's Corsairs or Eldar or Drukhari, all meshes together because then the basing is the same, but the color palette is the same, but all the colors have been applied in different spots on the army. So it like gives it a sense of like chaotic variety while using the same color tones. Anyway, so that might, hopefully that gives you some inspiration. I'm not like, I don't profess to be like the best painter in the world, but the hobby is a fun part of what we do. They didn't add the Necrosaur change into the data slate. So the Necrosaur change is in the faction pack, right? So it's not in the balance pack, like the balance sheet. It's directly in the faction pack. So in the faction pack, they have like 2 little entries are red. There's like, I think the king and then Necrosaur. Like, so in the index of the faction pack, you see that 2 things have changed. Then you scroll down to the actual data sheet and you go, nothing is red in the data sheet. So unless you have the old one and the new one to compare the 2, you will never know what the change was. Oh my gosh. Okay. We're just going to change that. Done and done. I don't know. It's getting interesting there, sir. They didn't add the Necrosaur change into the datasheet? No. Okay, moving on. I called this Titus. So, Titus, jump back captain with Liberatum, combi weapon lieutenant, Robute Gulliman, battle line, 10 heavy intercessors, 5 intercessors, other datasheets. Jump pack intercessors, ballistas, blade guard, land raider redeemer, scout, wardens, allied Calidus assassin. So redeemer, good. 6 blade guard, good. Double ballistas, good. JPI, good. Heavy intercessors, I don't think you need 10. 5 intercessors, fine. Gulliman, combi weapon lieutenant, Titus, jump pack captain, and the assassin. So I would still take a Repex over Redeemer, personally. I think Repexes are still very good. Still very, very good. Assassins are very good. Boo, silly assassin things. Like a Calidus assassin is like very good in any Imperial list. If you can spare the 100 points or whatever. White Familiar, flip-flop on this all the time. It used to be show on the listed changes in the field manual, which is better than hiding them. Correct. Like, I feel White Familiar that you shouldn't hide changes. You should definitely put them out there. So, moving on. So, 10 heavy intercessors, 5 intercessors. I like the list, Crispy. Personally, I think that you don't need the Redeemer. You just go for just a Repulsor, save some points. I don't think you need 10 heavy intercessors. If you're going to do a big brick, do aggressors. Aggressors, in my opinion, are just better. Twin-linked guns, either flamers or bolt guns, and they have power fists, so they can do both shooting and combat. 5 intercessors is excellent. I would be missing so you have the combi weapon lieutenant, you have the scout, you have the intercessors, you're missing the infiltrators. I feel like every time I don't have infiltrators, I feel like I'm spending way too many resources trying to stop my opponent's reserves from getting an angle on me. And as a Space Marine, I like to have things in front of me, right? And so infiltrators allow me to take up so much room in the back and allow most of my army to move forward so I can go punch things and keep my opponent in front of me, which is important. I don't have a Repex. Hard to find one as they're bought by Black Templar players. I might be part of the problem. Plus, Black Templar Repexes are now only 5 points more than a regular Repex. Awesome! Black Templar Repexes still meta. They didn't change those. Oh, so good. So good. Like, so good still. Because they get Oath all the time. For everything. But yeah, okay. So if that's the case, then the Redeemer is quite a good Land Raider. I do think that maybe a regular Land Raider would be better to get some long-range guns. Like, you got the Ballistas. Well, you know what? Like, since you have the Ballistas, actually, the Redeemer's not a bad idea. I do like the Blade Guard with Titus and friends. Or the Warden, sorry. Like, I do like all that stuff. So, just good. You know what? Fine. Just try it out. The big thing, as always, Crispy, is put it on the table, see how it feels, and then report back to me. But it is that time of the season where it's the end of the edition. We have a data slate that's probably not going to change unless they emergency fix the Tau Lance, the Twin Lance, from like community outcry, because there's a lot of community outcry for this unit, right? And then kind of shift it to something a little bit more reasonable and less like silly. But then what you have is play whatever you want till the end of the edition. Like, honestly, try different things. Like, we have no idea what the new edition is going to bring, so you might as well just have fun with it. You know, enjoy the time that you're going to spend. Every 4-hour slot that you spend with friends, make sure you have fun with it, right? As if we're not going to find out the changes at some point, it's going to be at the worst time during a tournament instead. Correct. Ballistas are slept on. They feel so efficient. Ballistas have been incredible. Every good player that I've seen play loves Ballistas. Like, they're good. Ballistas not dependent on Oath moment. Yes, correct. Those rerolls outside of Oath is just solid. Yes, Double Oath is very good as well. Play all the crazy stuff, Foz. I agree. Moving on. Too Much Coffee says, still tinkering with multiple small unit real space raid Drukhari. I gave up on the homunculus and Rax. I know. Did you get them again since they're cheaper now? Laughably cheaper? Trying out one more unit of Sky Reavers, a Kronos, and a third unit of Cap. See, that's way better than Homunculus and Rex. I originally put in a Ravager with Disintegrators, but the points drop on Carbine Scourge gave me the 5 points I needed for Caps, and this list is more about denying primary with trash than damage. Agreed. I think Sky Reavers are probably not as good as another Carbine Scourge in this attachment. Fair. Carbine Scourge for the 6, not 75 points for Carbine Scourge. You know, I have to tinker with a few lists, but I think they have some play. A list with a pirate. Real space raid. Archon with Labyrinthine Cunning, Malice Lilith, Succubus. So 3 units of Cabs, 1 unit of Witches, a Raider, and 3 Venoms. So you can split, have 1. So, of course, 10 Cabalites with Malice in a Raider. Archon with 10 Cabalites on foot. No, other way around. Yeah, but that see that doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. So you need to put Malice and 10 Cabalites on foot, Archon and 10 Cabalites on foot. Right? That's how this would go. Split 1 unit of 10 Cabalites in a Venom. Then split the Witches in another Venom, and put the Lilith and 5 Witches in one Venom, and Succubus and 5 Witches in the other Venom. If your opponent has a fast-moving aggressive force, you put 5 Witches with Lilith outside the Venom, and then you put the 5 Cabalites that you got from that other split into the Venom so it doesn't die. Or Incubi. I guess you have Incubi. But you could put the Incubi in there. Then you have Kronos, Mandrakes, Reavers, Darkon Scourge, Carbine, and Sky Reavers. So this is good. Lots of trash. And then the key would be, then you have the Archon on foot with 10 Cabalites as a foot troop unit that moves around. You have Malice that hops into the other Raider with 10 Cabalites once the Raider does stuff or whatever. Like, you need to fill the Raider with something. But she needs to be on the board for redeploy. So you could, like, then drop something off and put her in there. And then you have the 2 Cabalite squads come out, shoot, and then shoot and scoot every single turn with 1 CP, thanks to the free CP strat from the Archon and Strike and Fade, which I think is the best way to play Real Space Raid. Anyway, that's kind of how you play, and then everything else is just irrelevant and trash, and you just throw it away as per the mission. I like the list. The list is good. Like, I do think that the third cab unit is a little redundant, right? And I don't think you need the 3 Venoms because of how you're going to be splitting stuff. But you do have the Incubi. So maybe dropping cabs and putting Drazar in for the Incubi. And then you have Drazar Incubi. And then you have 2 units of 10 cabs. And then you have another little punchy unit that can like be more of a missile. Kind of like with Lilith. Yeah, something like Witches or Incubi in reserve for rapid ingress potentially, yeah. Talking about Pirate made me think of the upcoming Reign of Iron book. Man, am I salty about Guard not getting a detachment in a book about fighting for the Cadian Gates. Yeah, but Guard have those grizzled veterans, my friend. So they got all of the goodies already. They have grizzled veterans, they have doom hammers, they have combined arms, they have recon patrols, they have recon patrols. It's the end of the edition. It's going to be the Wild West. It's not all going to be equal. It's just how it is. So that's kind of my thought there. Too much coffee. Like, I feel like you just have to think of where you're putting the units and models and where each thing is going to go to make the most of what you're getting for each unit. But the Archon with Labyrinthine Cunning has to be on the board, and then Malice has to be deployed to be able to use the redeploy. So you need her on the board, but you want to maximize on the strike and fade. At least I found from practice, like physically playing this detachment, that you want to maximize on the strike and fade with 2 full units of Kabalite warriors. So I had an Archon in each one, and then Malice in her hand, right? But I had Archon in each one, so 10 and 10. 10 in a Raider, 10 on foot. The 10 on foot with the Labyrinthine Cunning for the extra command point, and then the 10 in a Raider that would kind of fly up to my expansion objective to sticky it, and then would basically find a wall, and I'd move out all 20 Kabalites. They'd all shoot at something, and then I'd use Fire and Strike and Fate to just move behind a wall, or laterally move to another piece of cover, or get back into the Raider, right? So you can like shoot and scoot with 10 Kabalites, 20 Kabalites in a Raider, plus anything you have in Venoms, right? Which then gets really, like, it's very fun. It's a very fun dynamic. Doomhammer. Oh man, Doomhammer is so fun. Am I correct that dedicated transports need something inside to field them, or are they destroyed? Yes, yes. When you deploy a dedicated transport, it has to have something inside of it, or it dies. And that's in the basically the match play, like how to set up a game. It's in the deployment section. It's like any dedicated transport has to have a unit assigned to it. Blah blah blah. If not, it dies. That sort of thing. Yeah, which has been a thing since 9th when it's been a thing since 9th, and then it was abused by World Eaters players because it was really funny. He'd be like, I'm going to deploy this Rhino with nothing inside. Oh, it's turn 1. Oh, it dies, and I get a blood token or whatever it was. I'm like, oh my gosh. So silly. Anyway, moving on. Carl says, and then you kill 3 Marines with them. Oh, come on, Lean. What are you talking about? No, you don't kill 3 Marines with 20 Kabalite Warriors with reroll all hits and reroll wound rolls. That's funny. Yeah, we don't write the rules. Also, Doomhammers are best. Doomhammer is so fun. Carl says, struggled a bit here. That's where it is. The rules be floating everywhere. I looked in transport rules and they're just not there. Yep, not in the transport rules, in the setting up a game rules. You have to read everything, okay? If you are a Warhammer player, they want you invested. They want you to read everything. They want you to know, to not ever be able to take a break from the game, or you just feel out of place. And it's like you left the cult, right? And then you can't come back because it's too far and you don't understand what's going on. Struggled a bit here. My initial list had 2 less Reavers and another Ravager. I really wanted 2 Disintegrator Ravagers, but in that build, my list has 30 points left over. Did not like leaving that many points on the table. Fair enough. Like, I don't like leaving points on the table at all. Like, 2,000 points, I try and make 2,000 point lists all the time. Unless I'm, like, testing a concept, I'm like, I'm 10 points under. If I'm testing a concept, it doesn't matter. But when I'm, like, trying to fine-tune a list to go to an event, 2,000 points, if I can. Come hell or high water. My favorite of the rules in the small paper packs handed out at selected events, right? Yeah. Got a game this week. Help me. Sky Splinter Assault or Kabalite Cartel? Sky Splinter Assault. That's my vote. Arky made. Crispy. So apparently Citadel Colors is getting renamed to Warhammer Colors. Cool. It is Warhammer. Like, they've rebranded to Warhammer, right? So Archon with Informant. Archon with Webway-Old. Drazar Malice. 2 units of Cabs. 4 Venoms handed the Archon. So what are the 4 Venoms for? Oh, Incubi. Okay. Makes sense. Of course, you got 5 Incubi with all. Then you have 5 Incubi with Draz. Then you have Hand Split with Malice. And then you've got Cabs with Informant. Right? And then, yes, that makes sense. 1 Ravager with Disease, 1 Chronos, 2 units of Incubi, 2 Scourge, 3 Reavers. Is this 2,000 points? You've got the extra units of Incubi, 2 units of Mandrakes. Yeah, I like it. So this list has all the elements that you would need. The only thing that I see that I haven't, like, I personally haven't found value in is Drazar and the other unit of 5 Incubi. But that is it. Another thing is I would probably drop, not drop, to be honest. Like, if you had 5 points left over, you could put make the Reavers a unit. Now that your Reavers are 75 points, it's a lot easier to slot them into a unit, to an army, because 75 points is like weirdly a proper spot for that. But I do like the fact you have the 2 units of 5 mandrakes at the minimum. Yeah. Lilith is your favorite. Yeah, Lilith is awesome. Beliak. Skari got a noob question. How important is it to have a Venom in a Drukhari list on average? Very important. I would probably never make a Drukhari list without at least 1 Venom. Would you get away with a no Venom list? See my previous answer. How do you rate a Venom out of 10? 11. Venoms are so very good. And it's not about the Venom. It's about the Venom's ability to pick models up, which builds into the fact that Dark Eldar die against everything. And the only way to keep them alive is your opponent not being able to shoot or interact with them. So what Venoms allow you to do, they allow you to attack with your whole army and then disappear, so you have committed nothing other than angles or screens that you've put out, which forces your opponent to not be able to kill the things in your army that do damage, whether it's in combat or shooting. And so good Venom use equates to good Dark Eldar play. Right? Now, you don't need to take a lot of Venoms. You can get away with 1 or 2, right? You could take 1 to just, even if it's just to split a unit into 2. Like, Venoms have so many good uses. Splitting Cabalites, Hand of the Archon, and Witches. Because a lot of the times you don't want the big units, you want lots of small units. So Venoms do that, number 1. Number 2, they're very small and easy to hide. Do not forget, you don't have to put the little spikes on them. Like, that's an optional thing. You don't have to put the flags and spikes. So they can be small and lean and hide behind walls and under floors, which allows you to go into a corner of a building and hop models out, shoot, and then hop back in. Or get a unit out, go charge something, and make sure you move the Venom nearby. So when they've done fighting, they can then pop back into the Venom. So your opponent has to kill the Venoms before they can get to your units that are the ones doing the damage. So it's an activation economy thing. It's an efficiency thing by splitting your units. It's a speed thing. It's a hiding thing. It's an anti-Adeline of Sight guns thing. Venoms are very useful. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Beliak. But other than that, Carl, like, I like the list is good. I would use this list. Like, if I was trying Drazar out, this is the kind of list I would use, right? I personally probably would only take 3 Venoms, though, right? Because what I would do is I would then use those 70 points from Venoms to potentially make 1 unit of Reavers a 6-man, or I'd find something to do with those 70 points. But I would like to have, 1 less Venom. Really, in this case, mainly because I don't think you need to put in one unit of Incubi in a Venom. You could deploy it on foot and then have a Venom like with the Scout or something, like drop off a unit, like the little Hand of the Archon unit that's useless, and then hop in a unit that wants the Venom, which then frees up 70 points for you to use elsewhere. Right? So that's kind of where my thought is, Carl. Same reason why Immolators or Sagittars are so good in my army. Splitting units is just good, efficient points use. Yes, especially in a game where everything dies and everything is very dangerous, right? Moving on, Chill says, no comments here, just a straight up Cavalry Cartel list. 2,000 points, Archon with Webway, Archon with Leechbite, Archon Informant, and Lady Mouse. My favorite character loadout, and I noticed, by the way, Karseth down here, I'm very curious to see, because I want to build a list with Karseth. So if this list is good, I might actually, or if I like this list, I'm actually just straight ahead, just steal it and like use it. I'm just saying. Thanks a lot for a detailed answer. No problem, Beliak. Thank you for hanging out. You know, I really appreciate it. You know, one of the things I like doing is teaching folks how to play the game. I have a lot of information in my brain, and I'm trying to get it out of my brain by telling people about the information in my brain. Lady Malice, 2 Cabs, Venoms, Hand, Incubi, 10 Mandrakes, 5, 2 Dissies, 3 Reavers, 2 Darklands Scourge, Shark Carving, I really like this list. This list is very good. It's very solid. It looks exactly like my list, except a couple of different changes. I love that you have the 10 Mandrakes, because that's like something I enjoy a lot. It's not easy to use the 10 Mandrakes, right? So if you're not a fan of the 10 Mandrakes, this becomes 2 5s, and then instead of and then you use 75 points to put in like 5 Sky Reavers or something, like to do some move blocking early in the game to help Malice out or whatever. And then Karseth. I like this. I think I'm going to try it because it's close enough. Like, in my opinion, all I would do is I would drop a Dizzy Ravager from my list and I'd put 2 Chronos in because I found that having too many Ravagers makes me not be able to spend the lone operative stratagem effectively. So person would line up and go, I can see both your Ravagers. I'm going to shoot at that one. I'm going to lone up it. I'm going to shoot at the second one, right? Like, that's kind of how that works. So, anyway, that's, yeah. So I prefer just having 1 Ravager, which in my case would be two Chronos, separate Chronos that go around, or 1 unit or 2, depending on what you want it to. What does 1 times 10 plus 1 times 5 Mandrakes get you that 3 times 5 Mandrakes is not? Survivability? Not really. You don't get the survivability. 10 Mandrakes, stolen for the advancement of Comra. Exactly. For the advancement of Comra. So 10 Mandrakes is a very unique tech piece that if you win the roll-off for initial infiltration deployment, you can take up a lot more space than with 5. So what it does is it allows you to sort of just completely shut down a large area of the table with an infiltrate. And that's the main reason. The main reason is you put 10 Mandrakes down, you spread them out, and go, look, you had a bunch of infiltrators, they can't use like this general area of the table. And then what you do is you infiltrate Kabalite Warriors onto an objective on a sticky, and then you redeploy those Mandrakes back into reserve or put them on a flank or something. The second thing is 10 Mandrakes in this detachment specifically really power up with sustained or lethals with the AP1 ignore cover. They have lots of attacks in both shooting and combat, so they sort of become a pseudo hammer that's very glass hammery, where you can rapid ingress it in a position where they can be very effective in a turn that's coming up and stay 18 inches away from shooting. So you could even put them right in the open, and as long as they're 18 inches away from the enemy can't interact with them, then they can move, shoot, charge, and sort of like turn the tide of battle in a key location. 10 Mandrakes does a decent average number of dev wounds and wounds to infantry and tanks and monsters. So it's like a good all-round unit for what you get in points-wise, but it's not survivable. It's like 5 Mandrakes. It will die very quickly. So it is a big point investment for tech piece that can fall apart very quickly and crumble. So it does require smart play. Like, you can't just throw this unit away. So if you are finding you're not getting the value out of it, that's where 3 units of 5 Mandrakes would be better, right? Just to have another unit to throw away, if that makes sense. Good morning, Digital Sniper. What's going on? Same reason I have 6 units of Von Ryan, a 6-man unit of Von Ryan Leapers. Exactly, right? It's a big unit, takes up a lot of space. We can redeploy it, whatever works. It's very, very good. Moving on, Gentle Jin. Gentle Jin's Tyranids, Snakes on Elves Boats. 1995 points. Tisk, tisk, leaving points on the table, tisk, tisk. AP1 ignores cover, damage 1 could be relatively strong, especially in mass, especially against things like Recon Guard or things like that, you know, that just like, oh, I get benefit of, if I'm in cover, I get benefits. You're like, no cover for you. Take a bunch of saves and kill 10 guardsmen in one go, right? Like, they're very useful into little trash. Into like the spectacle of Spite Mirror, I found them to be excellent because they just drop down and go, nuke witches, yeah? It's very good. Oh, it's using screen names now. This is Ryan. Oh, hey, Ryan. Sorry, it says Digital Sniper on there, Ryan. Okay, so I know. So you're Digital Sniper 45. Who's this Ryan guy? It was 2,000 points with overcosted NIDS unit, ruined it. Boo, darn fexes. Yeah, fair enough. Pretty well tuned at this point. This is my current league list. Small change where I drop my Pyrevore and Haruspex for Trigon plus Prime. Yeah, Trigon Prime is good, especially to flip things like, or fight things like Catan, at least try. This is what I'll hopefully bring to the next big 2 Denver tournaments. Neat. End of the edition, baby. Let's just have some fun. Neurotyrant, Tremor Sense redeploy. Yep. Swarmlord, Trigon. See, look, not too many characters. I like it. Like, you do have a couple of Lictors and Neurolictors, but those are great for mission play. 2 units of Hormigons, excellent. 2 Lictors, excellent. 2 Neurolictors, excellent. 2 units of Raveners, I hate those because they're so good. 6 Von Ryan Leapers. This unit, if you see a Tyranid player put this unit on the board, you respect that Tyranid player because they probably know what they're doing. Because this unit is very good. It does not get the props it deserves, but as a person who has played against 6 Von Ryan Leapers multiple times, playing against this unit is a pain in the butt. So a good Tyranid unit uses that 100% to their advantage. It is very weirdly a fantastic unit, even though it's gotten poo-pooed on the entire edition. Pivor, Morlock. I love the Morlock. 2 Rupture Cannons and a Haruspex. Yeah, pretty straightforward. I like it. I like that you have enough trash in here that it supplements all your big stuff. And the Rupture Cannon Tranifexes helps you shoot things. Like, it's a very well-rounded list. You've got Battle Shock mechanics. You've got the like, you don't have the big unit of Zone Thropes, but I don't think you need it. Like, you could put it in instead of a Tranifex, but I think that the 2 Tranifexes are just generally better because they have better OC as well, so they can take objectives, and they're, like, I guess, more chunky and harder to get rid of. Von Ryans are amazing. I played GSC Final Day and run 3 of them. Yeah, they're very good. It's a high skill unit, exactly. But that's, see, if you're here listening to this chat and still watching after all this time, get to know that the denizen community we've created around us is a very intelligent community that is very free thinking and likes trying things and putting things into practice. And that's, I think, what I'm most proud of our community that we've built is if you want something to be good, make it good. Practice it, test it, use it. Don't just take someone's word for it that anything's good and or bad. Put it into practice. Show people that it can be good. And at the end of the day, play it if you want because you want to. And people's opinions be damned, right? I like your list, Gentle. Be gentle with your opponents. Foxy, Cap Cartel, no comment, so I guess I get to tell you whatever I want about your list. Drazar Malice, Webway Ul Archon. Good. Cheap on the characters, decent. 2 units of Void Reavers for some extra scout. 2 units of 10 Cabs, good. 2 units of 5 Incubi, decent. 3 units of 5 Mandrakes, very good. Like, I love having lots of trash. 3 units of 5 Scourge, so this is where the extra characters went. More Scourge is good. I personally think you only need 2 in most cases, but 3 does let you triple up, which is good. 3 units of Reavers, 1 Kronos, 2 Ravagers, Disease, and 3 Venoms. So this is a very straightforward, decent cartel list. You don't have the Informant Network, but because you have the 3 units of 5 Mandrakes, you don't need it. You've got punchy things with the Incubi. You've got a unit of Corsair, a couple of Corsair Void Weavers because you don't have a hand at the Archon, so you've got some scouting, which is very important to take up some space in the middle of the board. Good objective control to go skirmish at the beginning of the game. And then you have the Dark Lances that force your opponent to close with you, and then the Ravagers, 1 can be deployed on the board, 1 can come in Deep Strike later. They do a lot of the main damage as well. The key to playing with this, though, is you do not have the Scouting Infiltrating Malice unit. So picking your first cartel contract is very important, because if you pick it badly, everything can go sideways. So I think that it just gives onus on you to pick something that's very easy for you to kill, or you know you're going to kill within the first turn or 2 turns, guaranteed, because if you pick it badly, it could kind of go sideways. You do have the Kronos, though, just in case, which I think is important. Fexes are nice. They casino cannon, but they mostly are really tanky, so you can shove them up for position and free OC on points. Yeah, they're really good. I like them as well. Good list, Foxy. Like, this is the kind of list I would play. Like, you've got all the elements you need. It's about putting them on the board. Where I would see you switching things around is a unit of Scourge with Dark Lances. You could take one out and put other units in, like Hellions or whatever, if you really wanted to sort of fiddle around with it. Kisme says, well, so the sisters' love continue. With faith and honor, what about Jeanne d'Arc? Yes, that's right. Hallowed Martyrs, 2,000 points on the nose. See, that's what I like. After playing against Sisters this past weekend, I will say Sisters are still very good. Like, I don't know what anybody's saying about it, but those Sacrosancts with their crazy durability is absolutely insane. But we have a Canoness with Jump Pack, the Kill Me Please Jump Canoness, the Deminofuge, the Junith, More Vol Palatine with the damage, Saint Celestine, 10 Battle Sisters, 2 Immolators, 1 Rhino, Castigator Sacrosancts, 3 War Suits, 5 and 5 Retributors, 10 Novitiates. See, I like the Novitiates for the Infiltrate. Yeah, 5 Zephyr. While playing my Champions of Faith, I built a concept on every detachment. Maybe I'll get to try it within 10th. Let's see. So I like it. I think the only thing that you could probably switch around is Retributors. They're very good, but I don't think you need the Retributors. I think you could put in 10 more, if you wanted to make it like fine-tuned, 10 more Sacrosands. Like having 2 bricks of Sacrosands with 2... That's another thing you're missing. If you're taking Sacrosands, please take the Hospitaller. Please. It's just bring models back. You know what I mean? Like, just use the Hospitaller to bring models back. Just maybe drop 5 Retributors, bring some Hospitallers. I think that you will be very happy if you bring Hospitallers. You know, I think that they have to be bodyguarding someone to get -1 be wounded, which is important. Like, honestly, I think it's just powerful. Like, it's very good. The Sacrosands, bringing back Sacrosands to life is one of the most annoying of... It's like what a Homunculus should be, where like it's an annoying durable unit that then you bring back to life. Like, Sacrosands have what it takes to do that. -1 to wound, good armor save, good invulnerable save, access to miracle dice, right? And stratagems that help them do damage as well. Interesting to see Sacros with no obvious character leading them. Exactly. Yeah. So that's like the only thing. The Palatine, like, with the damage would be good as well, but you can run the characters by themselves to do damage in this detachment because they just jump back up. They die, they jump back up, they die, they jump back up. Something else that my opponent used for Sisters of Battle, which was very surprisingly good, was Saint Celestine leading 10 Zephyrim. I did not know this, but Celestine brings back like D3 Zephyrim. Or one of her like bodyguard ladies. Like, that had like Marinius Calgar levels of annoying. Because you could put the wounds on the first little of her bodyguards, because she has a 2-up save. She has 2 wounds, she dies. Then you have to kill 10 more models before you get to Celestine. And then if you get to Celestine, she has a 4-up Feel Pain, so she can go die, to, you know, till she has, you know, no wounds. Then she comes back to life, and then she brings back a thing back. Like, so annoying to kill. It's 3. Okay, 3. It's a straight 3. Straight 3 Zephyrims, right? So 10 Zephyrim with Celestine. I'd never played against that before. And of course, they had the Triumph of St. Catherine nearby. So for +2 move. And that unit was so obnoxious to play against because it was so fast. Had Miracle Dice for charging, which was an automatic 6 for the battle round, thanks to the Triumph, and was just like, oh, and by the way, this Triumph has 6 OCs. It's going to sit on my expansion objective and just do nothing, right? And just make this unit of Zephyrim very, very quick. So those are the kind of things that I think about, Kisme, when I look at your list. Other than that, I think Sisters are very good. Castigators are good too. I think trying to get a second one is always good, like doubling up. Morven Vol and War Suits are like a must-take. And from that, you know, I think that you can kind of, with, you know, maybe a couple of changes here, add in the right characters for the right units. Not right characters, I say that lightly, but like if you want the more efficient characters for the units, I think that would be great, right? Okay, moving on. That is the end of the show. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to support the channel, like the video, leave a comment down below, and or support me on Patreon. I do this video every week for patrons behind the like Patron wall. So if you'd like to participate and get more bonus content, be part of the community, things like leagues and TTS stuff and crusades that Meadows have been running, and the more casual stuff, extra articles and content that I make with other creators behind their paywalls, it all goes onto my Patreon. So if you'd like to be a part of that and help me make more content for years to come, please do consider supporting on Patreon. There are a couple of different tiers, from the lowliest tier to the most elite tiers, including coaching. So make sure you check the links down below. And of course, I'll be back. We've got a premiere for our battle report in 20 minutes. Battle report goes up every Friday, usually. So thank you so much for hanging out, everybody. Yeah, Meadows is awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you, White Familiar. Thank you, Brother Saltspire. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. It really means the absolute world to me. And I will catch you on the flip side. Thanks all for hanging out. I've been Skari, your grateful host, signing off until next time. And don't forget, Poopoo Slate, the Dark Kin. Bye, everybody.